I don't know about you, but for a long time, money was my obsession. I thought if I just earned more, saved more, invested more, then finally I could breathe. But the weird thing is, the more I chased it, the more suffocated I felt. I would lie awake at night replaying expenses in my head. I would scroll through my bank app like it was social media. I would compare myself to people who seemed to have it all together, and I never measured up. Have you ever felt that? That no matter what you do, money keeps slipping through your fingers? That was me just a year ago. And honestly, it wasn't about dollars and cents. It was about fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of falling behind. Fear of losing everything I had worked for. And then, out of nowhere, I stumbled across Stoicism. Not in a classroom, not in some philosophy lecture, but in the raw words of people who lived 2,000 years ago and still somehow understood my anxiety today. Marcus would look at me and say, "Your worth isn't in your bank balance." Seneca would shake his head at the way I tied my peace of mind to a paycheck. And Epictetus, he would probably laugh at how I let a number on a screen decide whether I had a good day or a bad one. That's when it hit me. Money wasn't the problem. My relationship with money was the problem. And once I saw that clearly, everything began to change. There was a time when my entire mood depended on my bank balance. If the numbers were up, I felt strong. If they dipped even a little, I felt weak, like I was slipping behind in life. Tell me you haven't felt that too. That pit in your stomach when the money doesn't look right. It can ruin your whole day. But here's the truth I wish I had learned earlier. Money isn't supposed to be my master. It's just a tool. Think about a hammer. You can build a house with it or smash your thumb. The hammer doesn't care. It's how you use it. Money works the exact same way. Even the Stoics understood this. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome, yet he forced himself to sleep on the floor and eat plain food just to prove that he could be content without luxury. He owned money, money didn't own him. And honestly, you see the same thing today. Elon Musk is one of the wealthiest people alive, yet at one point, he slept on the floor of his factory. He didn't care about looking rich. He cared about building something meaningful. That's what mastery over money looks like. Meanwhile, most of us, me included, hand money the keys to our happiness. I was guilty of it for years. But when I finally flipped the script, when I started treating money like a tool instead of a master, everything shifted. I stopped chasing it for validation and started using it for freedom, for growth, for the things that actually mattered. And in that moment, I finally felt in control. Let me ask you something. How many times have you checked your account, seen an unexpected bill, and felt that knot in your stomach? Be honest. It's like your whole sense of safety disappears in one swipe, right? Now let me tell you about myself. For the longest time, that was me. One dip in the market, one car repair, and suddenly I was spiraling. I wasn't broke, but I felt broke. And that fear, it owned me. Here's where Stoicism flipped my perspective. They had this practice of imagining the worst. Losing money, losing comfort, even losing status. At first I thought, why would anyone torture themselves like that? But here's the secret. When you face the worst in your mind, the fear loses its grip in real life. Think about it. What if tomorrow you had to move into a smaller place? What if you couldn't afford all the extras, the streaming services, the fancy meals, the new gadgets? Would you collapse? Or would you adapt? Seneca tested himself by living on the bare minimum, just to remind himself he could. And in our time, Elon Musk did the same. The man could have lived anywhere, but he once slept on the floor of his factory and lived on peanut butter sandwiches because he wanted to prove to himself that he could. So I tried it too. A week of eating plain food, a month with no impulse shopping. And every time I did it, I felt lighter, not poorer. I realized I did not need nearly as much as I thought. And here's the punchline. Once you know you can live with less, money stops controlling you. You don't cling to it. You don't fear losing it. You just use it. Now tell me, wouldn't you rather have that kind of freedom than just a fat number in your account that never feels like enough? Let me tell you something most people don't realize. Wealth isn't about how much money you make. It's about how much control you have over your wants. Think about it. How many times have you bought something not because you needed it, but because you just couldn't stand the itch of wanting it? The new phone, the shoes, that random thing from Amazon you forgot about 2 days later. We've all done it. And every time, we feel that quick hit of excitement, followed by emptiness. I used to do this constantly. My income went up, but so did my spending. And no matter how much I earned, it was never enough. I wasn't building wealth. I was building cravings. This is where Stoicism hit me in the face. They didn't say, don't enjoy life. They said, master your desires, or they'll master you. And you see this even in modern life. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in the 1950s. Not because he can't afford more, but because he doesn't need more. That's power. That's freedom. So I started testing myself. When I felt the urge to buy something, I would pause. I would ask, do I actually want this? Or do I just want the wanting to stop? Most of the time, the desire faded.
The truth is, the richest person isn't the one with the most toys. It's the one who feels content with less.
So let me ask you, are you really building wealth? Or are you just feeding desires that will never stop growing? Before I conclude, let me ask you this. How many times have you rushed into a money decision because you were scared or greedy? You see a new side hustle and jump in too fast. You hear a friend bragging about their car and suddenly you're signing papers at a dealership. Or maybe you panic when an emergency comes and you throw money at the problem without thinking. I've been there. Every time I let fear or envy guide me, I ended up regretting it. That's when Stoicism gave me a new lens. The Stoics always asked, what's in my control and what isn't? Apply that to money and it's a game changer. You can't control the economy. You can't control what your friends buy or whether life throws you a curveball. But you can control your patience. You can control your discipline. You can control whether you're chasing status or building stability. Think about someone like Jeff Bezos. Before Amazon became what it is, he worked out of a garage, driving across town just to save a few dollars on office furniture. He wasn't rushing to look successful, he was playing the long game. And that's what Stoicism is all about. Not reacting, not chasing, not panicking, but slowing down, choosing with clarity, playing the long game, even if no one claps for you right now. Ask yourself this, am I being driven by fear or greed or by reason? Because the truth is, the people who build lasting wealth aren't the ones who make the fastest moves. They stay calm when everyone else is losing their heads. We live in a world where people measure success by cars, houses, vacations, and Instagram posts. But deep down, you and I both know none of that guarantees peace. I've met people with six-figure salaries who can't sleep at night. I've seen people drowning in debt just to look like they're winning. And I've been that person too, chasing more, yet feeling less. Look at Marcus Aurelius. He was emperor of Rome, the richest man in the world at the time, and he still reminded himself every day that happiness wasn't in gold or power, but in his own mind. Look at Warren Buffett. Worth billions, but he still eats the same McDonald's breakfast every morning. Still lives in the house he bought in 1958. And that's the point. Real freedom comes when you realize you can live well without excess. When you stop letting money dictate your worth and start using it as a tool to build the life you actually want. So let me ask you, what's the point of chasing millions if you never feel peace? Because at the end of the day, the richest life isn't the one with the most money. It's the one with the least fear, the least craving, the most peace of mind. And that's the wealth I'm chasing now. I don't know about you. Tell me in the comments below.